If you're on the fence about quitting alcohol, I know the voices of others and even the voices of yourself can tell you to give it up, stop, because it's just not worth it. But I'm telling you, quitting alcohol can change your life. It changed mine, and I believe it can change yours. So I've compiled 5 of my top favorite benefits of quitting alcohol from the first part of 2023. The benefits of quitting alcohol are so many, but these are gold. So I hope you really enjoy them. But first, hit the like button if you're sober, leave your sober date in the comments below, and let's get into my top benefits of quitting alcohol. Starting with number 5.
Eventually, you don't have to obsess over alcohol anymore when you've quit it. There's a time when you first start getting sober, you might have to struggle through each and every day. There's a reason we say 1 day at a time, or 5 minutes at a time, or 1 hour at a time, but that is just the first part of your sober journey. If you keep going and if you do the necessary work around the drinking habits and where it started and why it started and what pain maybe you're running from, eventually that obsession goes away. And it is the greatest relief that you can ever have. And I promise you, it is so amazing that when you start facing hardships in life and you don't want to drink, it's just the nicest feeling in the world. And it's not only a nice feeling and a relief, but it's so empowering because you begin to validate to yourself how strong and resilient you are and that you never even actually needed alcohol in the first place.
All right, that's a pretty good benefit. Hit the like button if it spoke to you. Leave your comments and your thoughts below so I can know if that benefit spoke to you or not. Now moving on to number 4.
Honestly, it has to do with depression. Alcohol is a depressant. And the ironic thing is many of us drink to avoid our feelings, to numb our sadness, to mute our grief, if you will. And that's all part of depression. So we think that we are solving our problems or solving our depression by drinking alcohol, but it feeds the depression. So it's not an overnight fix once you quit alcohol, once you give up booze. The depression, honestly, it obviously still stays. Please don't expect that as soon as you quit drinking alcohol, you're not going to be depressed, because there is going to be a struggle and a battle there, because as you get further away from the numbing agent that is alcohol, you will have to face your feelings. And it's really hard, and I know it's really scary, but it's really worth battling through all of that. Okay, because you do not have to be depressed for the rest of your life, and you do not have to use alcohol to hide from that depression or that sadness. And even though you have to go into the depression and the grief and the sadness and anything that feeds the depression, once you are not drinking anymore, I promise there is another side to it. You will get through the darkness to the light that is sobriety.
What'd you think about that one? Did you like it? Hit the like button if you've experienced that benefit yourself. And now, number 3. I mean, what if we could just wipe the slate clean? Not necessarily go back to square one, but just start a new square in our life. We get to change our mentality, change how we live life, change how we approach life, just start it all over. And I know there's a lot of things in the past that maybe we have to deal with, maybe we have to make amends, or maybe we have to release some guilt and shame around bad choices that we made in the throes of our addiction or with alcohol. We get to forgive ourselves, we get to surrender to what the past was so that we can have today as a fresh start to a new way of life. That's what sobriety is. We're learning a new way of life. We implement it, we might fail, or it might not go so well the first time, so we evaluate and then we try it all over again. And then there is an aspect of this benefit where we quite literally get to start over, because sometimes in sobriety, everything must change. And by no means am I giving any kind of relationship advice or marriage advice, but we have to be open to the fact that sobriety requires change and sometimes forces change. And if you have the freedom to start all over in a new place, it can be a huge relief just to start a new life. But if you have a family and you have children, you also get to start a new way of living for them and for yourself. And so really it's a powerful benefit because it gives you, obviously, like I already said, the ability to start all over, and that can be just priceless within itself. What'd you think about that one? Did it speak to you in any way? And moving on to number 2. Let's think about where your life is headed with alcohol in your life. Maybe you live another 20, 30 years. Maybe you get to 60 and that's it because of alcohol. But what if by quitting alcohol and gaining time back, you also literally gain time on your lifeline? You get to live longer, maybe compared to having alcohol in your life. You're now gonna live another 10, 15, 20 years because you'll have all of this time to take care of yourself, and your body will have time to heal, and your mind and your heart and your soul, all of it will have time to heal so that you have longevity. And I know perhaps it's a little morbid to think about our death and when that time comes, but let that be a motivating factor in quitting alcohol, because if you want more time, if you're afraid of not having enough time, the one answer right here, right now, if alcohol is holding you back, if that's maybe taking away what you want to have, which is time to do more things or be with your loved ones, is quit alcohol and gain that all back and give yourself a chance to live even longer, to be able to do more. What are your thoughts on that one? Let me know below. And now my number one benefit of quitting alcohol, and this is just for the first part of 2023. Here you go.
What happens when you quit alcohol is you get to release and relieve yourself of guilt and shame. In my opinion, guilt and shame are two huge factors in why people fall into the trap of alcoholism or alcohol use disorder, or just start abusing a substance or an addiction in general, because there's some type of pain that we feel bad about in the past that's kind of feeding this guilt and shame in us. And so we start coping with it in negative ways. And then we just make bad choices, or we lose control, or other people shame us because they think it's going to help us. And it feeds this cycle of guilt and shame over and over and over. I wake up, I feel guilty and shamed about last night, so I'm going to drink to take away that pain because I can't deal with it, I can't face it. And so it just keeps going. But by quitting alcohol, we get to end that cycle. I'm not going to say that it's easy 30, 60, 90 days, even a year out, but there is an instantaneous relief because you start gaining back all this memory and time that you would lose if you keep drinking, that you're no longer going to lose because you are going to quit drinking.
So there you have it, my top 5 benefits of quitting alcohol from the first part of 2023. But if anything spoke to you, please hit the like button and be sure to share this video, because it's the only way that this video will get to other people, by you liking the video and you sharing it. And then of course, I would be so honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. Just hit the button, it's like right down there, you can boop it, and I appreciate you being part of the Sober Webb community. And after you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the bell. That way you're notified when I release content every single week. Until I see you again, much love, much life. I'm Clark with the Sober Webb, and I'll talk to you really soon. Bye.